Alrighty. Brett Young has released his brand new album, Weekends Look a Little Different These Days, and it's time to talk about it. Whether you like him or not, Brett Young over the years has become one of the biggest mainstream country stars. Not big like Luke Combs or Morgan Wallen big, but big in terms of chart success, radio airtime, and love from the industry. Brett is often referred to as a radio darling, and rightfully so. His music has always been heavily influenced by R&B. He was one of the poster boys of the Snaptrack era back in 2017, most notably with his smash hit single In Case You Didn't Know, a song that I think had the potential to be incredible, but the simplest thing, the ugly trap, snare, snap combo on beat 2 and 4 just spoiled the whole intimate aura the song had surrounding it. Though Snaptracks never really went away, after that point, Brett became one of the poster boys of the boyfriend country trend. My point is, Brett has always been a frontrunner in most of, if not all, the notable Nashville trends, and because of it, he has amassed an impressive chart history. But a lot of people, myself included, just tend to see his music as the bland country pop that it is, really just what you would hear in a rustic wedding video. So going into this album, my expectations were very low. And though I left quite unsatisfied, I chose to hop on here and talk about this record because I think the potential was there in a lot of cases, and I think there are some positives to this record. They're just severely and deservingly overshadowed by the excessively blatant flaws. The biggest of these flaws being the lack of specificity. A lot of these songs are a perfect example of a radio hit intentionally saying practically nothing so that every human being on this earth can relate to it. It's honestly annoying yet comedic how vanilla and bland these songs are. Hey buddy, welcome to Billy Bob's Ice Cream. What can I get for you? Vanilla! I mean, right away, this album dives headfirst into nothing with the title track Weekends Look a Little Different These Days. The whole song is Brett saying how he used to be a reckless guy, hanging out at the bar too much, staying up too late, and sleeping too long. He thanks God everything has changed, but never takes a moment to mention what has changed. I guess everything, but not once does he give a single example. Now, because I follow artists so I can stay up to date on new music, I know Brett has recently welcomed a baby girl, which is also what the second track, Lady, is based around. So because I have some context, I can assume becoming a father has impacted his life pretty significantly. However, if that is what the song's about, I'm not a parent, but I think it would be safe to assume his sleep schedule didn't get back in order because he had a child. I have not heard a single parent say their life was much more structured and streamlined because they have a 7-month-old screaming machine. This comedic level of blandness can also be found on the third track, This, a song that's just Brett saying, "Oh, we fought, we had our rough patches, but I wouldn't trade any of it for this." Their whole relationship was leading up to this. He wouldn't ever want to miss this. What is this? Can you be any less specific if you tried? It's almost like a fill in the blank. It's left to your interpretation, which, you know what? Maybe that was the plan, tying back to the mass appeal I was talking about. As I said earlier, it would go great in the background of a slow motion, low saturation, rustic wedding video, but on its own as a song, it's just so boring. There's nothing to understand or depict. In a better attempt, Dear Me had the right idea. It just ends up feeling a little vanilla because it's another song of Brett saying to his younger self, don't worry about what happens because you're going to end up with the right girl, which sure is a great story, but coming from someone as constantly romantic as Brett, I just think Dear Me was a chance for Brett to go down a different road, tell us something about himself, open up about his childhood or something, but instead it's sort of just the title track wrapped in different wrapping paper. The fifth track, Leave Me Alone, has sufficient songwriting, and the production is bright, it's fun, it's detailed, very poppy but interesting in a good way. It's not a production snooze fest like Not Yet, there's actually some merit to the production. The issue is the lyrics and sound do not gel well together. It's a song about Brett breaking the silence and saying they need to end this relationship. It's obvious you're not interested anymore, so let's just cut the crap. But then it's being sung over the fun beach pop instrumental that sounds like an irresistible good time. Brett's not even on the winning side of this breakup. It's not like he's done with this girl and is just cockily finessing his way out. Dude's finessing himself. Dude is literally finessing himself in a relationship to a groovy beach country jam. Why? Like I said, there are some lines in here I like, how he says they aren't going to put the break in breakup, he just wants it to end once and for all. It's a simple, well-told idea, but man, I cannot see past that disconnect. So I think I've ranted enough about the flaws of this thing, but what were the bright spots I alluded to earlier? First, I'd be lying if I said there weren't a lot of good hooks on this thing. Granted, when you have a voice as distinct and rich as Brett, you automatically grab the listener's attention, but pair that with some earworm melodies in the chorus and you've got some really catchy hooks. I also think, though bland at times, the production isn't atrocious on this thing. It's a little repetitive in this sound I'm going to dub the Brett Young sound, especially you just play the acoustic electric drums and anything else all at once at the same volume so there's no instrumental distinction. Everything just sounds like one wavelength. I don't know if that's due to poor mixing or poor arrangement, but either way, it's not an openly bad sound, especially since the palette itself is quite good. It just gets repetitive quickly, but even then, there's a lot of moments where they tone it back, and that's where the instrumentals shine because it's a good palette, like I said. It's a nice, traditional set of instruments. They just aren't used very wisely, but when they are used, it sounds good. I think it was an appropriately short album. I did not need to hear another 8 songs of the same thing. This isn't a dig to Brett, but even though his album can feel slightly repetitive subject matter wise, it's not to a point where it annoys me. It feels more like a running theme than a lack of other topics to talk about, though I'm not sitting here saying Brett had much more to talk about. But my favorite part of this album is the closer, You Didn't. I'm going to do my best to articulate why I love it so much, but part of it is the fact that this song just struck a chord with me, and I think that's okay. You're allowed to like something even if you can't provide concrete reasons as to why, but that's what I'm going to try to do. This song is essentially what this album needed to do combined into a track. Rather than being all sunshine and rainbows so that no matter what people want to hear it, Brett finally includes minor chords. He allows the pain to be felt through the music itself. Instrumentally, it's a lot more floaty and low-key, a lot of R&B influence. It offers a lot of room for Brett's soaring vocals to nail easily the best hook of this entire thing. Brett's delivery is also really on point. The way he expresses this inner conflict of knowing for her sake he needs to end this relationship even if he doesn't want to. You feel that pain, that raw emotion in Brett's voice as he forces himself to say what's right even if he doesn't like what it entails. There's something so raw about this track and it just feels so right. I wanted this review to be short and I don't think it is at this point, so I'm going to begin closing off. Overall, I think this album was a lot of missed potential, whether it be a disconnect between good lyrics and good sound that ultimately doesn't work, a great sound spoiled on terribly bland songwriting, or just songwriting that was a few steps away from being pretty good, but almost chose not to be. This album is very vanilla. At the end of the day, this is pop country that the radio is going to eat up like a 7-course meal. I don't want to call it a step in the right direction because at the end of the day, Brett hasn't moved from the position he was in before, but I think it shows Brett has the ability to make good music simply if he chooses to. Rating-wise, I think I'm going to give this one a high 4, think like a 4.8. So, that's all I've got for you guys today. Be sure to comment what you thought of this album in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed. If you're new, maybe consider subscribing for more country music content. Links to both my Instagram and Discord and podcast are in the description below. Second episode of the podcast just went up recently on all platforms, so check it out. And yeah, until next time, have a great day.